Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and welcome to everyone. Have a very good afternoon or good evening, depending where you are, okay? To our invited speakers and all the attendees to our third webinar organized by Oxford Fajar, that is the Oxford University Press Malaysia, and the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, MELTA. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for making the time to be here today. Some of you are here for the first time and some of you have been here before. So thank you once again. My name is Anita Muhammad and I'm the marketing manager at Oxford Fajar. Okay. As you know, this webinar series is a collaboration between Oxford Fajar and MELTA, where we bring to you classroom practitioners and experts in the field of education to discuss pertinent topics relevant to teachers and educators during this COVID-19 pandemic. For this webinar 3, Oxford Fajar and OUP would like to thank the MELTA Special Projects Bureau for arranging and inviting the speaker as well as the moderator for this session. So let's get started. I'm going to share you this slide. Okay, let me share you this slide. Okay. Right, the webinar 3, the title is Teachers' Wellbeing, Does It Matter? Okay, before we start, okay, this one I would like to thank all the for those who have given us your feedback for us to have this slide. So we learn as we go along. Okay, number 1, your certificate of participation. Okay, you will receive your e-certificate within 7 working days by email. We'll email it to you. Yeah. Number 2, the recording of the session. We will record it and then we will you can access the recorded sessions in our website and also in MELTA's website and Facebook page. Yeah. Okay. Number 3, you have all these functions in your webinar. Okay. You have the Q&A. So if you have any questions that you would like to pose to us, to the panelists and also the host, please put it in the Q&A. Okay. We'll be launching a poll shortly. So please take a few seconds to answer the questions in the poll. And also you have the chat session. I think all of you are very good at it already. So feel free to chat and share your views in here. Okay, stop this. So I'm going to launch the poll now. So please answer the question. Okay. And all right. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Ramesh Nair, the president of MELTA, who is an associate professor at the Academy of Language Studies, University Technology Mara in Shah Alam, Malaysia, to say a few words. So over to you, Dr. Ramesh, and happy webinaring, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to webinar 3 in our Oxford Fajar MELTA webinar series. On behalf of the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, I'd like to first thank you all for making the time to join us today. You know, we usually run these sessions, at least the last 2 sessions have been run on Friday mornings. So when we decided to move it to the afternoon, on a weekday, on a Tuesday, we were a little anxious about whether we'd get the same number of participants. Looking at the numbers now, it looks like we can't go wrong regardless of what day we have the seminar. It's so wonderful to see so many of you making the time to join us. Some of you, as Anita has rightly pointed out, have come in for earlier sessions. Some of you have come in for the first time. We plan to continue the session as we move forward, and we hope you join us for the sessions which are to come. Do look out for notices on both the Oxford Fajar website, as well as the Melta website for details. So today, the speaker is none other than the Vice President of Melta, Dr. Cynthia, and her topic is on teacher well-being. It so happens that today is my first day back in office after a long break. So it's just by coincidence that the topic is on teacher well-being. It feels very different to be at work today. So I think Cynthia will share more of her thoughts on this. So I'm going to just leave this presentation there. But I'm just wondering, some of you, I know I struggled with this earlier. You may find the survey poll right in the middle of your screen. All you need to do is minimize that and you'll be able to access the full page if you are struggling with that at the moment. So I'm going to leave the rest of the session with the good hands of our Director for Special Projects, Dr. Tay Pei Ling. Over to you, Dr. Tay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ramesh. Right, good afternoon to everyone. Teachers' well-being, does it matter? Today, we are very privileged to have Associate Professor Datin Dr. Cynthia Yolanda Dost. She is the Director of the Postgraduate Certificate of Higher Education Program at University of Nottingham, Malaysian campus. She has been actively involved in teaching training, trainer the trainers, curriculum design, and materials productions, as well as conducting mind mapping courses for both the public and private sectors. Her areas of research interests are brain-based education, literacy, mind mapping, and critical thinking. So without further ado, please welcome Associate Professor Datin Dr. Cynthia Yolanda Dost. Over to you.
Thank you, Pei Ling, for that introduction. All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, I am amazed and humbled by the sheer number of you taking the time to come in and sit in for this webinar. All right, what I'd like to tell you all is this session is for and about you. All right, so let me begin by sharing my screen with you all, then we get started. All right, now I'm going to start with a brain blue. All right, what you need to do is you need to use the chat, and I would like you to type one word, just one word. All right, why you have sacrificed your precious time to attend this webinar. In other words, basically, it is what is it that you're hoping to gain, right? I would just one word. That is all you need to do. Need to type. Can we start? We only have 3 minutes. Just one word. Why have you sacrificed your precious time to attend this webinar? Or what you hope to gain? Just one word. All right. Can you start? 3 minutes. Don't give me long sentences or theses. Just one word. Thank you.
Yes, there are many responses here.
Hello?
Yeah, there are responses here. Knowledge, interest.
Oh, I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Dr. Cynthia, you have to go up to your screen and then there is a chat.
Yes, I've pressed on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Go down.
Just hang on a second there. Yeah, I am on chat, but I don't get it here.
You click the both participants
Let me just read out some of the words, Cynthia, for you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So words like learning, knowledge, new ideas,
Right.
inspiration, skills,
Yes.
new ideology,
Yes.
Collaboration,
Right.
well-being. Yeah, many words are coming up. Everyone is posting.
Yes, enrichment as well. Knowledge.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
And one of them said you.
Oh, you.
Sorry. Right. Thank you for that. Right.
Innovation,
Okay.
creativity.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't have all the answers, but you have given some of the points as to why you are here, and I hope at the end of it you will gain something from it, because I feel teachers' well-being is so very, very important. Okay, let me just continue with that. And now, let's talk about it, okay? Here, I would like to share with you, begin by sharing with you why I chose this topic and why was this topic important for me, for two very important reasons. First is the COVID-19 and the lockdown, okay? Now, when this started in the area of education, there was a lot of emphasis. We were shifting on to online, and there was a lot of emphasis on resources, apps, and also even the student well-being, but very little, or maybe not enough, on teacher well-being, how we were coping. And the second reason is that I attended, when the lockdown started, I attended the IATEFL online conference. And one of the plenary speakers is Sarah Mercer, and she's written very much on teacher well-being. And a lot of the teachers are present at that conference. There were about 1,000 of us, some on the Zoom platform and some through Facebook. A lot of what she said about teacher well-being resonated with the educators and the teachers there. So then I thought, now this is a worthwhile topic to share and discuss. And in my research, I found out as well that now, presently now, teacher well-being is a very hot topic with the WHO, with OECD, even in many of the teaching associations. Now, this is the outline for the presentation, all right? We've done with the introduction. I'm going to tell you why teachers' well-being matters. And then we're going to unlock the concept of well-being. And then we're going to fill the cup, fill our cup. And I put there my cup, referring to all of you. I'll talk about it later. And then we're going to end with the keynotes, because I've 1 hour with you and I have a lot to share with you. So, we better get started. Okay, now the first thing is this. Why teachers' well-being is important and why does it matter? Now, we all know the environment of a teacher is in constant state of flux. If you look at teaching 10 years ago, so different from what it is today. It's constantly changing. Some of the reasons is the continuous revolution of technology, the apps that are coming up, the teaching aid that's coming on. Today you learn this, we start with the flip, we start with the blended, we've got Kahoot, we've got a whole lot. Just as you start to become an expert on one, something new comes in. My learning curve for this whole COVID, since the online teaching, has been so steep. They still haven't found a word for it, And then the next is changes imposed by government or education ministries. Now, I know in most countries, once the government changes or the education, policies change. Teachers become, what would I say? They become the tools to implement these changes. So, ever increasing challenge of students' behavior. Students' behavior from before to now is so very different. My mom was a standard one teacher. This was about 50 years ago. The way students behave today is totally different. We've got to deal with the X, Y, Z generation, the millennium generation. And the latest frightening one is the children who are born in the year 2010. They are called the Alpha generation. So we really don't know what's in store for us then. And we move on. Now, 1 in every 20 teacher, they have mental health problems. Now, this is by the Newfield Foundation report in UK, and it's not very long ago, it's 2018. Now, this is by the Harvard Graduate School of Education in one of their reports, Safeguard the Mental Health of Teachers. Why is it important for teachers in schools to create space and acknowledge and respond to the stress of the job? Now, the teachers, this is from an international journal of Indian psychology. Teachers posted at schools located at urban areas had more mental issues compared to those in rural areas. Maybe the teachers here, present here in the rural schools, maybe they could give us some feedback on that. Okay. Now, according to WHO, stress is becoming an increasingly threatening disease in the world. It is a major threat to the mental health of mankind. Now, it's not, if you look at statistics now, the mental health of students is on the rise. It is corresponding with the mental health of teachers as well. Now, a WHO researcher found that stress is a global epidemic of the century. We may be having the COVID as a pandemic, where we're definitely having teacher stress as a global epidemic. Now, the Teacher Wellbeing Index for 2019 revealed that 72% of the education staff and 84% of the senior leaders suffered from stress. Now, this is all, very, very, very worrying, if I would say. Right? Now, let's move on. Now, this is for Malaysians. This is a study, and not so very long ago, in 2018. All right? Now, many teachers in Malaysia are now suffering from critical diseases. Why? Because of the increasing stress due to increased workload. Now, stress levels among teachers are becoming more common and worrisome due to the increased workload. Now, this study is peculiar to Malaysia, and it's done in 2018. Now, look at this study by the NUTP. 70% of the 9,000 teachers nationwide were depressed because of the workload, but also because of vagaries of principals, clerks, parents, and students. Now, when we talk about these vagaries, what are we talking about? Unexpected, inexplicable changes in situations or in someone's behavior. Right? Now, there's so much of stress going on. Right? Now, here, this is this is from Australia, and they did a survey. Now, causes of teachers' stress. Rise in student demands and expectations. We have increase in workload and administration. It's not peculiar to Malaysia alone. It's something that's worldwide. Vulnerability due to accountability can be involved in up to, did you realize that in a day, a teacher sometimes can be involved in up to 1,000 interpersonal communications or contacts in a day. That's a lot. Then you have the expectation. Many of us try to be perfectionist. We try to do the best we can. Okay. Now, lack of social, emotional competence in training. Yes, we have training in a lot of new approaches and pedagogy, but do we get training as teachers for social, emotional competence? Okay. The parents have become very, very demanding. Okay. Now, also it's to do with the lack of, time management, admin. Now, these are general. What I'd like you to do is, if you are facing a stress, one of your causes of stress does not fall in this category, maybe you would like to type it in the chat. Maybe that stress is peculiar to I know we've got a lot of teachers present here today from the Philippines. So maybe you want to type in what your stress factors are. Okay, and please remember, your stress factors are very real and they need to be addressed. Okay, I also would like to, in all of this, I also would like to say, I am no psychologist. It's just that I have 36 years of teacher education with me, and you see that, and it's alarming, especially currently now, the mental health of teachers. Okay, now, this is Daniel Feliki. Just let me move this a bit, huh? Hang on just a second. Let's hope I don't lose everything. Okay, Daniel Feliki. She is the founder of Teacher Wellbeing. Teacher Wellbeing is very, very important in New Zealand. They take teacher well-being very, very seriously, And when you do a teacher happiness index, some of the countries that are doing pretty well are the Norway, Sweden, New Zealand. And then we begin to ask ourselves why. Okay. Now, what she said was this in her research. There is a connection between teacher well-being and how teachers teach. Right? Now, their emotional health is so paramount, is so very, very important, in their ability to be able to cope with stress, with anxiety. It gives them that much of resilience. All right. And I like this phrase that is said, stressed out teachers create stressed out students. All right. So here we have all this information, all this research, all these statistics, and I only touched the tip of the iceberg to say teachers are stressed, students are stressed, and then another research that showed that leaders are stressed. So we have this whole arena of stressed people in education, right? And what OECD said, that is the Organization for the Cooperation and Economic Development, teachers' well-being is key for teaching and learning. You know, I don't think this is rocket science, and I don't think this is anything new, but it is very, very pertinent at this point in time for teachers, especially, and also for education. So teachers' well-being, there needs to be a lot of stress on that. Okay, right. Now, that is, with what I've told you, I've tried to set the stage to show you this is what's happening, and therefore we need to really look into teacher well-being. And the teacher well-being is not just left to the teachers alone. Yes, the bulk of it is, yes, you have to take care of your well-being, but it is also leaders, policymakers. All right, because as someone said, and for the life of me, I can't remember, in education, when you talk about education, you talk about the soul and you talk about the pulse, it comes back to the teacher. All right? Okay, now let's unpack the concept of well-being so that we are all on the same page, so that we all, right, you know, of our understanding of well-being, because there are many, many definitions. Okay, let's just see. Now, ordinary, the Oxford Dictionary, when you look into the definition of well-being, it simply says the state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. All right. Now let's look into the Teaching Council of New Zealand, where they are very, very involved in teacher well-being. Now for them, this is their definition. Teacher well-being is both individual and a collective responsibility. And here they're referring to the teacher and to school and to management. It is holistic and focuses on the spiritual, physical, mental, and social wellness of teachers as professionals. Okay, in practice, it looks different persons to person. I mean, you look at individuals, all right, and place to place. Right. Now, this is WHO. The next one is from the World Health Organization. It is a state which an individual, that's you and me, we realize our own ability. We recognize our ability, our strengths and our weaknesses. Can cope with normal stress of life. All right. As it is, the normal stress is already so stressful. And with this COVID, you know, with this move to online, the stress levels have gone up. It's unprecedented. Now, can work. The individual also can work productively and fruitfully and is able to make a contribution to his or own community. All right. Now, that's from the WHO. Now, can I just move on? Now, this is the conceptual framework from OECD on the teacher's occupational well-being. Okay, now they have come up with 4 key dimensions. When you talk about a teacher's well-being, you have to include these 4 dimensions. Now, the first one is the cognitive well-being, and look at what and how they they refer to cognitive well-being. Excuse me. Ability to keep new information and concentrate on their work. Subjective well-being, particular feelings or emotional states, satisfaction and purpose with their work. Subjective here is, it varies from individual to individual. Physical and mental well-being. psychosomatic symptoms and complaints. All right. Now, social well-being, quality and the depth of working relationship with the stakeholders. So when you talk about well-being, you are looking at these 4 key dimensions. You cannot just look at one. You need to look at it holistically, all 4. Right? Now, because it's so important, teacher well-being today, all right? In PISA 2021, it's not just going to be about maths and science and English. They're going to add an Annex B, and in which there is going to be a teacher questionnaire. And that teacher questionnaire is going to capture information and capture information on the 4 key dimensions: cognitive, subjective, physical, mental, and social. They want feedback because why? They have realized teacher well-being is very much related, connected, important to student learning. All right. And as I would just like to repeat, stressed teachers create stressed students. Right? So they have decided that it's important. Now, so in summary, well-being is more about, it's not just about coping with negative situations, right? It is about feeling good and functioning well. They go together. It is where teachers perceive job satisfaction, experience positive emotions. You know, when I was looking at some of the statistics about teachers, regarding teachers and job satisfaction, it's very, very alarming. And there's so many who want to leave. But because of economic situations, they stay on. But if not, they would have left. All right? Experience positive emotions. Okay? You need to experience positive emotions more frequently than negative emotions. And you need to function well both as a teacher and in your other roles in life. All right? Now, as a parent, as a spouse, as family member, friends, and so on, we cannot separate that. It's a package. Now, functioning well includes supportive professional relationships, professional growth, and a feeling of self-efficacy. Okay, so you look at it and you realize it's a joint collaboration. It's working together, teachers and leaders. All right. Now, so when you talk about well-being, well-being is present when a person, one, realizes their potential. All right. Or someone helps them to realize their potential. 2, is resilient in dealing with normal stresses of life. Takes care of their physical well-being. You know, I'm going to talk about the physical well-being, but you know, when you talk about a teacher's well-being, the physical well-being is so, so very important, okay? Has a sense of purpose, connection, and belonging to a wider community, okay? It is a fluid way of being and must be nurtured throughout life, throughout your teaching career. Now, this is adapted from the World Health Organization. Now, this is basically the concept of well-being. Okay, the 4 key dimensions that you need to consider. It's not just one aspect; they all work together, and when they do, they give you a solid. I mean, and it's something that is permanent, right? Now, let's talk about the current issue. Currently, what's happening? All right, with the COVID, you know, you are working at superhuman pace to develop learning and teaching resources, strategies, approaches as learning is being moved online. I remember telling you, my learning curve has been so steep. You know, it's tomorrow there's an online class or next week, and we are preparing materials, right? You face challenges with students, colleagues, authorities, your children, and family as you work from home. Okay, home has become the workplace. The workplace has become home. And with that, the lines between work and home are blurred. And that makes it even more difficult. Some of us, and I'm sure there are male members here who are very domesticated, all right? So there are some of us, and moms here, moms who are teachers, you're attending to housework, to children, you're cooking, as well as you're embracing all these new approaches, and you're teaching as well. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, your mental health is very, very important. All right. We've been hearing stories about how people have, cracked under this MCO, under the COVID, being the lockdown. All right, because of stress. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is this. Could you please type in? Okay, one word, only one word. I'm very much into one word because I'm very much into brain-based education. And one word is very powerful for the brain, and for the brain to remember, for the brain to sort of figure out. And in one word, the whole gist of it is that. One key word, okay? Describe your feelings during the situations. What were you going through? Just give me in one word. 2 minutes, please.
Okay, Dr. Cynthia, we have tired, stressed, anxious, shock, or going too fast, fear, anxiety, some happy, peace, helpless, right?
Exhausted.
Hopeful, yeah, contented, depressed, panic, clueless, drained, difficult, overwhelmed, tired, confident, alert, refocused, restless,
Right.
dissatisfaction,
Right.
submission,
Okay.
satisfied. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. You go on putting your word there. And you see from your words, it's no different from the online conference, the IATEFL conference I attended, where Sarah Mercer asked them to also put a word up. You see, so you're not alone in this. You know, you're not, absolutely, you're not alone. And these are emotions that, you know, you need to address. All right? You need to think about, reflect, and you need to address as best you can. All right? Now I would like to give a 2-minute break back to Anita, because I think this is for the Q&A. So Anita, can I give it back? Can I pass it on to you?
Okay, all right. Thank you. Before that, is there any pressing questions,
Yes.
Dr. Tay?
Yes, there's one question from Darren. Okay, he asked, Dr. Cynthia, how do you think teachers can also involve parents who are also stressed in the teaching and learning process amidst this pandemic?
How do, sorry,
How do you think teachers can also involve parents who are also stressed in the teaching and learning process during the pandemic?
Okay, one of the things I was very, well, we teach, and then of course we have a lot of, I wouldn't say, I better be careful about saying a lot, sometime. So I was very busy watching CNN, and it's amazing when, you know, this thing about the teachers and the parents. Now, they communicate together. This is where teachers and parents need to communicate together and find out ways on how to deal with their children. You know, teachers, do not be afraid to ask for parents for help as well. And parents are reaching out to teachers for help. I mean, especially where online is concerned. And and also if you have parents who are, I'm just sharing with you some of the things that I watched and I heard from parents and teachers. Teachers will give parents, you know, prepare some things for parents to help their children. At the same time, the parents have got, one example, maybe I give an example is better. Teacher asks parents to pick up reading passages that they would think that their children would enjoy. you know, and then they ask parents to also do little videos with them. All right. They ask the parents to read aloud for them, to record that so that they can share it with the class. You know, and in the writing arena, the parents were with them. All of it is like, it's so easy to video, and children feel good. Parents is beside them, and then they are writing. They're helping the children, and that is promoted in the online learning. And because other kids see their parents with them, they encourage. They tell mom and dad, "Can you sit with me? I would like to write as well." All right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
Question number 2 from Mohammed Naim. How do you propose teachers to be recognized for their actual value and skills?
Actual value and skills.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tough question, all right? But I think teachers today, like I said, you need this is actually you should encourage, actually, teachers in the schools, encourage for leaders to go in for sessions or workshops for teacher well-being. All right, they need to see the importance of teacher well-being. Well, I can tell you this, come 2021, when PISA does that survey, well, we don't have to wait for 2021. When come 2021, when they do that, they will realize how, of want of a better word, how disgruntled teachers are, how unhappy they are. Okay, they're not appreciated for their value, their work, you know, for their skills. So one of the things is that, like I said, you can have sessions for well-being. Well, insist that schools have sessions for well-being where teachers and leaders work together.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
They're doing it in other countries, yes.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay, question number 3.
Yeah.
Do you think teachers' well-being is connected by managing expectations? Do you think teachers' well-being is connected by managing expectations?
By managing expectations, in a way, yes. All right. And when I start on the session on filling our cup, I will tell you that some of us try to be perfectionist, you know, and our expectations are very, very high. Leaders' expectations are very, very high. And one of the things I want to talk about is you need to know how much you can and cannot do. How much you do that affects or does not affect your well-being. You know,
Okay.
you need to be very clear on that.
All right, thank you, Datin Cynthia. So 3 questions done.
Right,
Pass back
okay.
the section.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right. So just now,
I will
Dr.
Yeah.
Okay. Just now, Dr. Cynthia mentioned that we're going to take a 2 minutes break. Right. For those who would like to go for nature's call, whatever, you can do it now. Okay. So in the meantime, for those who are still here, we're going to try this one out. Yeah. We're going to open the floor to you, that is the attendees. So here's what we're going to do. If you'd like to share your views or your experience in what you're going through now in the current situation of teachers' well-being, so you can raise up your hand. You know, there's a button up there where the list of the participants are, okay. And then once this 2 minutes break is up, we will select and allow 1 or 2 attendees, depending on time, to speak up and share your views with everyone. But please make sure that your microphone is in a working condition, yeah? So anybody who would like to share your views, speak up, please put up your hand, raise up your hand. There's a raise hand icon next to the panelists and in between panelists and attendees. Okay, we have 1. Okay, anybody who would like to speak up? Or we have 1. Anybody else? Please raise up your hand. Okay, we have 2 now. Okay, we have 3. We're just going to choose 1 or 2, yeah? 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45. 46. 47. 48. 49. 50. 51. 52. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. 59. 60. 61. 62. 63. 64. 65. 66. 67. 68. 69. 70. 71. 72. 73. 74. 75. 76. 77. 78. 79. 80. 81. 82. 83. 84. 85. 86. 87. 88. 89. 90. 91. 92. 93. 94. 95. 96. 97. 98. 99. 100. 101. 102. 103. 104. 105. 106. 107. 108. 109. 110. 111. 112. 113. 114. 115. 116. 117. 118. 119. 120. 121. This is the first time we are doing this, so bear with us. Okay, 5. There are 5 people who would like to share their views. 6, 7. Okay, just wait another 1 minute for Dr. Sinta to take a breather. So, Prof, would you like to choose, or you let me choose? Or Dr. Tay, please choose out of all the 7 names, or anybody.
You want to, sorry, Anita, you want to do the sharing now or later?
Now.
Okay.
Shall we do? Yeah, because they've already put up their hands. So, can you choose a name, please, out of those that have put up their hands?
I think I leave it up to Dr. Tay because I somehow I can't see. I don't seem to be able to see the question. So why don't you all pick?
The question will come from them. I mean, they want to share their views. Okay, Dr. Tay, which one would you like to allow to speak up?
Jared Soon.
Jared Soon. Okay, Jared, I'm going to allow you to speak now, yeah? Hello, Jared?
Okay, testing 1, 2. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, Jared. Excellent. Hi, Jared.
Hello, this is my first time attending these webinars, and I've really appreciated the information so far. What I actually wanted to share is what I've realized about networking with my fellow teachers during this MCO. I've been able to build closer relationships with some of my colleagues just through assisting them with the technological side of things, sharing what I've learned, and I've also been able to learn from them as well, them sharing the technology they use, the strategies they use, and from talking about work, even going into building a closer personal relationship as well. So I think I've realized through this MCO that relying on our fellow teachers and our colleagues, reaching out to each other, sharing our resources has been a huge help in coping throughout the MCO.
Right. Well said. Well said. It's all about sharing, you know. No teacher can sort of like live on a little island by him or herself. So the sharing is help. Thank you, Jared.
Okay, I'm going to disable you now. So can we choose another one? We have
the one on the top the list, Lim.
Okay.
Lim, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Lim. Okay, you can. Hello, Lim. Okay, we can hear something from your end. Hello, Lim. Oops.
Maybe we go for Stanley then.
Okay.
Stanley.
Oh, hi, Stanley. Stanley is one of our authors for Oxford Fajar.
Hi. Okay.
Hi, Stanley. Okay.
Please turn on your mic, Stanley. Turn on your mic.
Stanley,
please.
you are on mute. Can you unmute your mic? Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes. We can hear you, Stanley. Hi, Stanley.
Hi, Stanley.
Yes, I'm. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
Yes, Stanley, go on.
No, there's something wrong with my connection.
Okay, it's okay. You can speak up.
Okay. Mentioning the 4 aspects of teachers, and I'm quite interested with the part where she mentioned about the physical aspect of teachers. I think teachers should take control in the sense that they should take care of their health first thing. Okay, as you said, if teachers are stressed, of course our students are going to be stressed. Therefore, I personally feel these days teachers don't pay much attention to their health. So this is very alarming. So therefore, I hope teachers will somehow find ways to be physically fit for the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley.
Thank you, Stanley. Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. You know, and I'll use myself as an example. Okay, I've joined gyms but never gone to them. You know, and then you talk about not so, why bother, but this COVID and this research into well-being, and I looked at the importance of physical, and I tell you, just the 3 weeks to a month, it has made a difference. It really has, right? And I will talk about it later. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jared, and thank you, Stanley. Okay, can I go on?
Yeah, back to Dr. Tay. Yeah, on Dr. Cynthia. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
Yes. Thank you. Now, we come to this part. We are filling our cup. Okay, how do we take care of our well-being so that we thrive? We just don't languish, we thrive. Okay, now, please note, well-being is a continuum and it fluctuates. Okay, this 5 months, the well-being is fine. And then you find that, oh, it's going down. There are issues because environment changes, lots of things. So well-being is a continuum and it fluctuates. It is okay to have negative feelings, be sad, stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, but it is not okay to stay there. That is something we need to remember. Okay, we recognize it, we get out of it. Okay, now knowing who we are is important, as we give so much of ourselves to others. Now, I like this phrase, and this is from the foundation in New Zealand. Teaching profession is very other-oriented. Okay, now what does it mean, other-oriented? Now, other-oriented is we are very, very giving to students, to the school, to, to management, and also the home environment. Now, I put there an example of a cup because that was what the example they gave. Now, we are like, when we get into class, we are like this full cup of water, all right? And when we give to our students, we keep emptying our cup. We keep giving them. We keep giving them the water of knowledge. We keep giving them the water of advice. We keep giving them lots and lots of water, okay? By the end of it, our cup is empty. So we need to fill our cup, all right? And we need to look at it, and that's important because if we are going to continue, giving, teaching, sharing, all right? Okay, now, this is in education, well-being starts with the teacher. And I wish leaders, policymakers need to see this. In education, when you talk about education, it's the well-being starts with the teacher because the teacher creates the ethos and culture in the classroom. Nobody else does that but the teacher. Therefore, leaders just cannot give lip service regarding well-being. They need to make sure it is part of the culture and ethos of the school system and management. And that's where I go back to what I told you just now. You need to insist to have well-being workshops, and leaders need to sit in because you are in it together. All right? Because you need, in a way, it is also their well-being. Now, this is what OCED said. Teacher well-being is a key criteria for assessing the success of the education system. I go back to this question, which I myself am asking, and which there are answers actually. How come the schools in Norway, Sweden, and some of the places, they're doing very well? They're successful. And that can be, to some extent, correlated with the teacher well-being, right? Now, helping ourselves, filling our cup. The first step is acknowledging the importance of your well-being and insisting that you would like workshops on well-being to take care of your well-being, on how to cope, and I think that's important. Second, stop feeling guilty about prioritizing your own well-being over the needs of your students, school, because our profession is very other-oriented. Right? Now, when I say this, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean we prioritize ourselves all the time. No. All right. But when you feel you are already, let's say, in moving towards this danger zone where well-being is concerned, then you prioritize yourself because then only can you function well. Okay. And this is something I've come up with. You have the right to disconnect, to reboot. All right? The right to disconnect is a phrase I saw and I added to reboot. We all need that. You know, one of the things that when I was doing this on the well-being, to prepare for a workshop for well-being for teachers, not this one of it in France, you know, during the weekends, whether it be school or in offices, no emails are sent because they need their time. All right? There must be boundaries. Right? Now Daniel Faleki calls this her first aid response designed to preserve, okay, and I say this again, preserve the well-being of teachers. Divergent thinking. Don't just have one solution, have many. And how do we have that? I go back to what Jared said. You know, we share. We have to come in and we have to embrace the culture of sharing. Okay, you need to rest your mind. Nobody knows best their mind than themselves. And when you are tired, you're tired. Awareness of self is very much linked to the rest of your mind. Believe you are enough. All right, you have prepared. I've noticed that, and I'm talking about myself as well, especially with this online thing. I've prepared this lesson and I've made the effort to learn this online app. And then I look at my colleagues and I said, oh my goodness, he's got such exciting and interesting apps. Mine pales in comparison with that. But however, you know, but there are other issues, other things that come into play. Okay, believe that you are enough, then you become. I always tell my students when I'm teaching presentation, you are the PowerPoint, or teachers, you are the PowerPoint. All right, celebrate daily. You know, you need to celebrate who you are, what you do daily. If nobody wants to celebrate for you, you celebrate. Right? Now, and I've got this quote as well, you know, from Ken Robinson, Sir Ken Robinson. If you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. Right? Now, the next slide is this, nourishing our well-being. It is so very important for us to eat. And I relate this to brain-based education. All right? Especially, I've done some research into, you know, the classrooms. We call it the weaker classrooms, you know. They come in without breakfast and things. You need to have that nourishment. Okay? Now, when we need to eat well for our prefrontal cortex, rational brain, to work and allow us to perform to the best of our abilities. Often when people feel irritable, are in a mood, or they are finding it hard to concentrate, it's because their prefrontal cortex needs refueling, and it has a very short battery. Okay, our minds and our bodies are greatly influenced by what we put into them. All right, I'm not telling you anything new, and I'm sure you know that, but we need to acknowledge and realize that. Okay, now coming to what Stanley said about physical well-being. Okay, it is the key to your mental performance. Physical and mental go together. There's way too much research to show the correlation for us to ignore or dispel. Okay, now exercise affects our mental and emotional health, which in turn increases the performance of our prefrontal cortex, our rational brain. Now, this again, there's just too much research done on this. It produces serotonin and dopamine, which are the feel-good chemicals. All right, so the physical well-being is very good. Now, in my search for the well-being, these were the advice given. Simple exercises, 5 minutes. I was looking for things that are simple because, you know, with us, 30 minutes is way too much for me. Just 5 minutes. And one of the key things is that you can sit at your computer, but I rather you stand and you do this breathing in and out. Can I just show you? I don't believe I'm doing this, all right? Okay, this breathing exercise. They say that you put your two palms where your heart is, because when something shocks you or when you are upset, the first thing is your hand goes to your heart. All right? Okay, for most people. I mean, for some people, maybe not. But you put your hand to your heart and you breathe in and you breathe out. You breathe in and you breathe out. All right? There's another one. This is the SMILES education in India. All right? Because physical exercise is so important for the teacher and the student. You do it this way, your hand this way. All right? Okay? Now, you use your thumb, you close this. Sorry, you breathe in. Close with this and breathe out. Then use your little finger, close this side and breathe in. And then you breathe out. Now you just alternate and do. And they get the teachers and the students to do this. All right. Then there is walking. All right. Nobody's asking you to do brisk walking, just walking, you know. And if you're confined to the house, walk all over the house. That's what I've been doing. That's what I have been doing. If you have to walk in and out of each room. All right. But of course, now we can go out and we can walk. Just 5 to 10 minutes dancing. I think that's really, it has helped me. Just close the door. All right. Just 10 minutes. All right. For us, some of our muscles are not are still very not relaxed in state. 5 minutes. Just put the music and do whatever action you want. Stair climbing. All right. Now, simple stretches at your computer for your wrist, for your neck, for your back. Right. Now, all of this, you can get it on YouTube. You know, pick one that suits you, but you need to do it. All right. This, as I've showed you, 5-minute breathing exercise to ease anxiety. You know, you will be amazed. I didn't believe it as well until I started trying it. All right. So you need to pick up from there. Now let's go into the mental well-being. You need to sleep. You need to have enough rest. If you can't solve a problem, you can't figure, just go and sleep. All right. Think about it. And then maybe when you get up, it'll be there. All right. Spend 5 minutes in the morning being grateful. All right. 5 minutes in the morning. Now, I never thought this, but you should see the testimony of people, especially when those in the well-being workshop, how much it has helped. You know, 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes is too long. 2 minutes. Just lying in bed and just being grateful for life, for what you have, and what's going to happen today. You know, listen to music. All right. And most important is have your me time. It can be 10 minutes, but everybody in the household needs to know that that 10 minutes is your me time. You know, and somehow it just builds into the system. But very important is your me time. Your me time is to de-stress. All right. Okay. Now, unplug your phone. Okay, this is a bit difficult, you know, and sometimes we pride on ourselves. We are multitasking. Okay, research has shown that our brains actually, we don't multitask. What happens is that we switch our attention. And this takes up much energy, plus we lose our focus. Okay, so, you know, you email, phone gazing, we're doing our work, we're looking at our email, we're looking at our phone for messages. You know, it's like when I do my work, I've learned this. I've learned this, I mean, through testimony and through all this mental well-being. When I'm doing my work, at least for half an hour, the phone is off. I don't even put it near me, because there is a great temptation to look at it. When I conduct workshops, I always tell them, put your phone face down. All right. Now, we need to have boundaries between work and leisure while working remotely. We need to have those boundaries. Okay? And you know, we look at all these successful people around the world. I mean, I'm just naming Bill Gates and all these people. They have set boundaries. You know, be realistic about what you can and cannot do. And at the present time, given your unique because of the way we are working. It's very unique and personal circumstances as well. All right, now that's our mental. Now, prioritize your task. Okay, it's important, but not everything is urgent. Not everything has to be done today. So we start with what is urgent first. I remember when we had, one of these workshops, and I talked about prioritizing, and one of the participants said, no, I do the easiest ones first. No, it doesn't work that way. When you prioritize, you do what is urgent first in our line of work. All right. Now, accept that a to-do list rarely gets completed. Let's be real. But lists are useful. Okay. Now, the next one is this. Teaching professionals can find it very difficult to say no. You may fear letting someone else down, the school or your students. However, we all need to say no sometimes. And it's much better to say no at the outset than say yes and follow this up later with a no. And I like this phrase. You reflect and think about it. Remember, when you say no to something, you are saying yes to something else that's important to you. All right? Ask for support when needed. Form a support group. This is exactly what Jared was talking about. And today, this is so very important. Okay. Now, this is for the educators. This is the value-driven leadership. The influence that leaders can exert in a school cannot be underestimated. The tone, the direction, and interpersonal focus of a school is profoundly influenced through their actions, the leader's actions. The reality that a manager is defined by speed and detachment, whereas a leader will model values, listening, patience, attention, reflection, strategic direction, and investment in relationships. It is much more nurturing and inspiring to be led rather than managed. Okay, in the school system, this is how, when we talk about leadership, it should be value-driven leadership. Now, for leaders, for school leaders, when teachers perceive, this is research, when teachers perceive their school leaders to be more autonomy supportive, teachers report more positive relationship with students and colleagues, and greater adaptability, greater work-related well-being, and lower emotional exhaustion. Okay, same here. When their leaders, when there is more autonomy supportive, there is workplace buoyancy. What does that mean? The capacity to effectively navigate common challenges at work. Okay. Now, autonomy supportive leadership. This is for leaders, all right, and for school teachers as well. First, listening to teachers' needs. 2, acknowledging and attempting to understand issues from teachers' perspective. That's very important because they are at the ground. Seeking teachers' input in decision-making at the school level, such as asking teachers how best to approach different events and task schedule. Sometimes, leaders also, they see the bigger picture as compared to teachers. But what is wrong in asking the teachers for their suggestions? All right. Now, providing rationales for the task. It is not this, you need to do this, we need to implement this, but give the rationale and have a discussion. Now, these are basically the factors affecting teacher well-being. Institutional ecology, leadership. Teacher professional life, teacher personal life. All right. Now, teacher well-being linked to the quality of instruction and student achievement. This is one way of saying it. I've already said teacher well-being is linked to the effectiveness of teaching and learning, as well as student success. Now, these are key points. We've come towards the end already. The key points that I would like you to take away and reflect upon. Now, why does well-being matter? Now, people with very high levels of well-being, 6 times more likely to feel engaged, 29% more likely to be more productive, 45% more likely to be satisfied with their jobs. And this is really crucial. 125% less likely to burn out. Okay, and we need to remember the mental health of educators is a growing problem in many countries in the world. Now we need to remember the two things. Teacher well-being, I've said this, is a key criteria for assessing the success of the education system. You want your education system to be successful, you take care of teachers' well-being. All right. 2, teacher well-being is key for teaching and learning. All right. And now, how can we begin to ignite the flames of desire for learning when our own flames are beginning to disappear? All right. It is not about being happy only, but also about finding meaning and connection in your teaching. All right. Your well-being matters. You need to start looking after your well-being, and leaders need to focus on the teacher's well-being. All right. Now, before I thank you all and end, I've got the last task for you. Get into your chat, and I would like you very much to type in again one word. I don't text you, just one word. What is your takeaway from this, from all of this? What is the one takeaway from this? Just give me in one word. Can you please type that down?
Relief, motivation, hope, distress, self-care, stress again, motivations, grateful, comfort, self-love, motivated, optimistic, me time, empathy, knowledge, self-love, comfort as well, thankful.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay. And I'd like to thank you very much. And I'd like to recommend these 3 books. They are really good. The first book is The Elephant in the Staff Room. All right. You're not the elephant, but read the book and find out who's the elephant in the staff room. This is The Teacher Wellbeing by Sarah Mercer and Tammy Gregerson. All right. And the other one is Teaching Happiness and Wellbeing in School. They're good books to read. Okay. And with that, I thank you very much. My email is below. If you have any questions, you want to discuss anything, please do not hesitate. Okay. And just remember, I part with this. Your well-being is very, very important. So take care. And thank you so very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Associate Professor Datin Cynthia. Thank you for the insightful presentations. I'm sure now we are aware of the importance of teachers' well-being. Myself, as a teacher, it is very important to stay sane, right? So now we have come to another Q&A short session. I'd like to look at only 3 questions. Okay, I just randomly pick up some questions. 3. The first question: the way online teaching has some convenience to some teachers because of the time flexibility. So what do you think, Dr. Cynthia? Could this be a beginning? Yes.
Pei-Ling, you were breaking up, Pei-Ling.
Oh, sorry. In a way, online teaching has also become a convenience to some teachers because of the time flexibility.
Yes.
So what do you think, Dr. Cynthia? Could this be a beginning for teaching and learning in the future? Online teaching for the future.
My answer is yes, and that's the way we're going to go. Online teaching, because even in the university, at university level as well, we are looking into that. It may not be full, but at least we may begin with starting with, by subjects. And when we talk about blended learning, we talk about flipped classroom, we're looking at this online, but it is something that's going to become very, very much part of education, Right.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2. The movement from face-to-face physical classroom teaching to home-based educations, okay, we can't avoid it. And this can be definitely cause stress to most of the teachers. So this transition is so abrupt that it gives very limited time to gain skill in technology in order to fit in online teaching. So what would be the best advice you can give so that teachers will lessen the feeling of fear, uncertainty, unwanted, especially to those traditional type of teachers?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
You say traditional, be careful. When you say traditional teachers, that includes me, all right, with 36 years of teaching. The thing is, let me share. When we had to move from the face-to-face to online, all right? Now, the first thing, of course, you have to equip yourself, all right? If you want to stay in education, we need to move forward. But we need to do it at our pace. You know, it shouldn't overwhelm you. Look, number one, I'll share with you. Number one, you need to learn, you need to find out which is the technology that is being used. You need to learn it, share, get a support group. All right. Now, in where I am at the university, we're very good. We have CPD where we share. Some of them have got some good ideas. They come in and they share. We teach each other. You only don't need to teach your students. We teach each other as well as we go along. All right. And I think that's very important. You find your buddy and you practice with that buddy. And we practiced. You know, we went online and we practiced, because I'll tell you, the first session I had online with my students, I was so fearful. All right. And as it would have, the whole class disappeared. All right. Because I pressed the wrong button. All right. So these things happen. Okay. Putting our fear in front it's only going to stop us. So we laugh at it, you know, but we pick. I've got my students to teach me as well. All right.
Okay. Thank you. I think because of the time constraint, I have this last question. Very straightforward, I think, Cynthia. Can we have the slides? From three, I have three questions. Yeah. Would the slide be available? Would like to share with my colleagues because it is so relevant. Yes.
Okay.
The
recording, I mean, you will get the recording. So I think it would be better if you show the recording. All right. But like I said, I've given you my email. If you do, just let me know, because some of it is copyright. So maybe I can discuss that with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you don't get to all your questions during this webinar, we will try to follow up afterwards. Yeah. So to close this session, Dr. Ramesh. Okay. I'd like to hand over to Dr. Ramesh. Thank you. Dr. Ramesh.
Yes,
okay.
Right. Thank you, Billy. As with the first two webinars that we ran, come to realize how quickly time passes when you are on a webinar, and I think Cynthia feels that as well. You know, I think an hour and a half sometimes goes by so quickly when you are so engaged in a discussion. I think just before I quickly end, I just wanted to share my thoughts on that question that was posed earlier. I think a lot of anxiety comes from the fact that the teachers know that they should be reaching out and teaching their students, but then they're held back because so many students do not have access to remote learning and non-face-to-face sessions. At university, maybe we are a little luckier because the platforms are there and our students seem to have access. And so in some ways, we find that the non-face-to-face classes run better, in fact, more efficiently because of this opportunity that's out there. But I know that teachers in schools face a lot more challenges in reaching out to students. You know, what do you do when you the students don't even have the data plan to come online and engage in lessons? So I think this is something that has to be resolved by the ministry, and you know, the teachers need to have some kind of directions on how to move ahead with this reality, which is a reality where teachers do not have face-to-face access with their students. So I'll leave my thoughts there. On behalf of thanking Cynthia is like thanking myself because she is Malta as well. But I'd like to thank Cynthia for taking the time to prepare and carry out this webinar. Our thanks, of course, Malta's thanks, of course, goes to Oxford Fajar for continuing to support us in engaging teachers. The webinar will continue. The next webinar is coming up on the 5th of June, and we have a session on teacher professional development. So that's a session that you want to join as well. So please look out for the link to register and join us at the next webinar. On behalf of Malta, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so on behalf of Oxford Fajar, we would like to say thank you, Dr. Ramesh and Dr. Tay, for moderating the session, and of course, Dr. Cynthia for such a great session. I believe that everyone has gained some insight on how important teachers' well-being is.
Thank you.
And and it is something that we need to address and cannot simply ignore it or brush it under the carpet. But before we end this session, I'd like to share you a story entitled Everybody Worries, written and illustrated by John Bergerman. Let me share you this screen, yeah? Sharing my screen. Okay. John. Right. Okay. This is an ebook, a free ebook from Oxford University Press. It is for students, really, for children. But after reading this book, I think, it is so very, it is really linked to what we are talking today, what we have discussed today. So let me read you this book, Everybody Worries by John Bergerman. Even the bravest of the brave and the coolest of the cool can worry about something big or worry about something small. Even the toughest of the tough and the smartest of the smart can be worried by noises they hear in the dark. What you find worrying, others might find fun. Worries aren't always the same for everyone. But sometimes an event turns the world upside down, and everybody worries and wears a long frown. Worrying is normal when so much has changed. It's okay to worry when things don't stay the same. Your head might ache and your heart beat quickly as worries rise like a wave and make you feel sickly. So let's talk to each other. We might all feel the same. Let's draw our worries and give them a name. Let's take 3 breaths, slow and deep. Let's exercise, eat well, and get enough sleep. Let's speak to our families and friends on the phone. Let's paint beautiful rainbows to show we are all not alone. Sharing our worries can make us feel better. Showing our feelings brings us together. It's okay to be worried, but this won't last forever. We can overcome anything when we are there for each other. That's the end of the story.
Very nice.
Brilliant.
So we will share this with everyone in my follow-up email after this, as usual. Okay, let me share you. Okay, now. Okay, move this thing. Okay, this is a free ebook. So please, once I share this, the link to you all, please share it with your colleagues, your students, your children, and everybody. Yeah. Okay, before we end, once again, I would like to remind you that certificate of participation, we will email it to you within 7 working days. So don't email me. I've been receiving tons of email regarding this, right? So the recording, it has been recorded okay, we shall share with you the links for you to access this, especially when you want to get all the notes from Dr. Cynthia's slides, all in the recording. So feedback in our follow-up email to you tomorrow. So please fill in the survey questionnaires, because only that we can, improve and improve better. And last but not least, registration for upcoming webinars. Please ensure you register with your full legal name, not like Queen of Sheba, something, Queen of Jungle. We do get that. So please, because your name will be printed on the e-certificate. Right? We try to minimize the request to change your e-certificate later. And this is something that we are really looking forward in June. Okay, we have our, just mark your calendars, yeah? We're gonna have the webinar for Enhancing English Language Teacher Quality Through Professional Development. This is by ELTC, an institution under the Ministry of Education Malaysia. Okay, like what Dr. Ramesh mentioned just now. Okay, webinar 5 is multi-layered engagement for EAL learners, the Australian experience. We have speakers from Australia for this webinar. Very interesting. On the 19th, we're going to have webinar 6, a session with education experts from New Zealand. Another interesting session. We'll give you more information on this later. And webinar 7 will be CFR online assessment. So teachers, I bet you're going to love this. Okay, so right, for more information, please follow us at Facebook and also check out our website. I've put up both Oxford Fajar and also for Melka Malaysia, both the Facebook and also the www website addresses. So with that, we would like to say thank you once again for attending this webinar. Okay, let me stop sharing. How to stop sharing? Okay, stop sharing. All right, so now we have close to 450, but just now we hit 478 participants. So that is another record high. So with that, we thank you so much. Have a great day, and thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Okay.